Here's a collection update. As of February 18th in 2022 of my current collection, which you saw last time was a tiny bit smaller and on a different table. Let's be honest, I really did like my old setup. It was pretty nice. I got used to it. That old table that I had, I put all the radios on it when I had 13 back in June. And I collected 3 the whole summer and into the fall. Collected 3 more radios. And now, since my last update, which was on August 15th, 2021, my last collection video, I have collected a total of 3 radios. Now, y'all may know that I got that 261 back in October of 2021. And since then, it's been about 3.5 months, almost 4, and here we are. I collected and bought the RadioShack 12-519. Right next to it, the RadioShack 12-382. Both arriving in the same week. And I ran out of room, so I had to get a bigger table. And this is the current setup so far. Now, I don't need to go over every single weather radio here, except for the 2 that I got, because I explained most of them. Except that the 261 that I have, I bought, which I didn't make a video about it, because it was one weather radio. I reviewed all the others back in August, but I did not have a review on that one. The 261, this is the 2004 version, which would be the second version of 261 you can buy. Now, that being said, I bought that weather radio, especially the 2004 version, quite frankly because I've seen the 2003 versions have more problems activating. And it was a little newer, and the condition I thought was better to get a newer version. So I got a newer version 261, and guess what? It's activated every single time. Hasn't failed me once. So it's a fabulous radio. They're pretty common on eBay. Again, the 2004 versions are a little more common than 2003. I'm pretty positive. You can find both of them pretty easily on eBay. Now, I got that one for about $30. Not too bad. Again, usually, sometimes you can get them even cheaper, but it's a good radio. It has the same, pretty much similar menu functions as the 262 and the 521. It is similar radio, but just a different shape. Has the same siren as the 262 and the 521. So overall, it's fabulous. It was a great one to collect, a very common one. So enough of that. Let's go to the 519. So the RadioShack 12-519, I believe, was manufactured and made in 2009. Is when they started making them. And correct me if I'm wrong, either it was 2007 or 9, I believe it was 09 when they started making these. And the 12-519 was basically the replacement of the 521 and the 262. It's basically the upgraded version of those 2 radios. It was the replacement of both of those. The deluxe version, pretty much, of RadioShack. Now, it has the same siren as the 991. So, you're going to get that drunken police car sounding siren. Now, there are 2 versions, I think 3 versions of 12-519s, at least 2 off the top of my head. You have the 2009, 10, and 11 versions. This one, I believe, is an 09, because when I looked at the sticker on the back next to the battery compartment, it said 06, A06, 09, which makes me believe, is it June 2009? If that is the case, it would be one of the earliest versions of 519. If it's not June, it was a 2009 version, I'm pretty positive, which means if it is an older version 519, then there is the potential possibility that it could activate on the first header. Yes, the first version of 519s are the only 519s, I believe, that activate on the first header of an EAS, which is interesting, that the newer version activates on the third header. Now, this next weekly test will be keen to if that's the case or not. We'll see, but I believe it is an older version 519. It's maybe not the very first generation, but a 2009 version of 519. Pretty cool. Now, the features on this weather radio, again, it has Skywarn, which would be the buttons in this compartment here. And I have a Skywarn. I am on the Spotter network. However, I haven't transferred my data from my old iPad to my phone, so I don't have the number with me to be able to punch in the keypad. But in Charlotte, in Carolina, in the Piedmont, there are some chasers that come here time to time, so you might be able to get on the network. I will have to figure that out. It has multiple AM and FM capabilities, and the settings, it's overall a pretty straightforward weather radio in the settings. You have the channel backlight. I have that on low because I know by experience, by that Accurite over there, that you leave that backlight on the whole time, it will destroy your display after a while. It'll become so dim that you can't see it. So I keep it on low. So the alert volume is what it sounds like. Just like the 991, except I think it's even louder because it has stereo speakers, and I think just the quality is just overall better. Just overall. I have that on auto, the select channel, alert mode, voice, because who the heck would want to have that on siren for over a minute and 30 seconds of siren, or however long. That would be blisteringly painful. Same code all, and it has alert blocking, which is huge. I enabled pretty much every alert on this thing just because, unfortunately, when it comes standard, the weekly test is disabled, which is super annoying. But anyway, you can easily enable alerts. So it's a pretty straightforward radio. And the signal out of station WXL70 on Spencer Mountain in Ranglo is absolutely spot on.
Source. Be sure to properly discard all smoking.
Channel 5, KJYD5 here.
Mostly cloudy with a 50% chance of showers. Area on Friday, February 18th at Charlotte Douglas.
Yeah, but overall, it should activate. I mean, it's not like hopefully it's not like the 262, which is extremely picky about activating for anything. It should activate every single time, hopefully. Signal's great, so no static in the signal. I don't live very far away from WXL70, the station. It's just one county away. It's only about 13 or so miles, so it's not super far. So 12-519, fabulous radio, honestly. I had been looking to get one for a really long time. The ones on eBay, there were like 5 available a couple months ago. They all sold out, and then I couldn't get one. It was playing cat and mouse with trying to buy one, because as soon as one would come on the market, someone would buy it instantaneously. So I had to look for one, and then I found one that was just listed, and I was able to get one. So, all right, that concludes the 519. It's fabulous radio. It's the biggest radio that I own. And hopefully, for this year's storm season, it will be one of the best weather radios that I have ever bought. The next radio, or at least the most recent one, which arrived actually today, this is a 12-382. And this radio is more rare. It is the predecessor of the 261. These were made in 2007 and 8. I believe. This one was made in 2008, judging by the sticker on the back of it. The menu is pretty similar to that of the 261. It's just a black and silver, more improved version. You have channel, backlight, again, basic stuff. Same kind of stuff you'd see on the 521 and 262. It's literally almost no different, except the technology is newer, and the advisory watch and warning lights look cooler, in my opinion, than on the 261, because they glow in and out. It's actually pretty darn cool, and it has the same siren. So I have pretty much concluded the sirens that the 262 has. I have all 4 of the RadioShacks that make that one siren noise, and all radios, if the 262 activates for weekly tests, will go off on the first header of an EAS. So in grand total, I can have 7. If the 74200 activates on the first header, I can have a grand total of 7 radios that could go off on the first header. If the 519 is a first header radio, we'll see on the next test. But yeah, this one is more rare than the 261. I have not seen as many of these. On eBay, I was lucky to snag one. The last one that I sold was like in mid-November. So they're not as common anymore, unfortunately. The 261s are way more common than the 382s. The 382s also I have historically had tuner problems. I have known pretty much all the RadioShacks are prone to tuner issues. The only issue I've had with my 521 is the display. After about a week or so, it starts to screw up, like all the letters start to become distorted and all that. The tuner's fine, the buttons work, everything works, it activates, but just the display has gone to crap. That's the only problem. Other than that, no issues with that. But yes, the RadioShack series, except for the 991 and the newer ones, most of them can have tuner issues. I've been lucky. I mean, I've had no tuner problems with any radios. Maybe my Accurite over there it's the speaker on that thing that's a goner, unfortunately. So it's just a silent radio, but it activates for alerts. So that's good. Back to the 382. So again, the siren on this guy sounds similar. I'm gonna play both the 262 and this guy. You're about to hear a loud one. I mean, when you hear that, when you hear both of them at the same time, it just sounds so freaking weird. It messes with your ears. Now imagine having 4 of those go off. Ooh, I mean, it is going to get loud for this season. It really is. Another couple things to point out, besides the 382, is that I've had my WR100 version 4 for over a year now, and my 262 for over a year now. No issues with my WR100. It's a version 4, so I didn't bother getting a version 5 because the version 5s had, the wonky tuner problem. And the 262, was it a good purchase? Yeah, I think that, I could have bought a different one and it may have not had the issue of not activating. But listen to the signal. It's absolutely perfect.
Amazing. At Gastonia, it was partly cloudy. The temperature was 41 degrees. In Monroe, it was...
I mean, there's no static. It's absolutely perfect, but sometimes, on like 60% of the time, it activates for its weekly tests. So I don't understand you, 262. I just don't. I just don't understand you. But besides that, the collection has gotten much bigger. So my grand total of weather radios now is 18. So a year ago, I had 9. So I doubled my count in a year, which is nice. So, I'll be ready for this season for sure for EAS recording. Absolutely. No doubt about it. So, the collection has grown leaps and bounds, and it all started with that guy. I've almost owned a NOAA weather radio for a decade. How about that? I got that one in 2012. So, it's almost been 1 decade since I have first owned a weather radio. So, that will be big as I further move into the EAS community slowly and slowly. So, yeah, overall, weather radios are pretty nice. And what is even nicer is that station WXL70 covers 16 counties, which is a pretty broad span coverage area. WXL42 in Winston-Salem, though, covers even more counties than this one. It's like one of the, if not the biggest station in North Carolina that has the most coverage area, and even goes into parts of Southern Virginia. So I don't think I can pick up WXL42 from here. What's crazy is, I think channel 1, I can pick up WXJ22 in Florence, South Carolina, which is pretty nuts. And channel 5, WWF60 of Buck Mountain. So, yeah. So, for EAS, I'll be ready for this season. So far, I've gotten 5 weekly tests in a row. So, there has not been a lot of action. And I had that one winter storm warning a month ago. And then that SVR at the beginning of the year. So, at the beginning of the year, I've only received 9 alerts. That is it. And it's already been over a month and a half into the new year, going through February. So, that'll conclude the collection update. Now, will I collect more weather radios? There are chances. I'm not going to rule it out later. But right now, no. It's not on my plan, not on my list right now. I think I'm just going to use the ones that I have for now. And if I see maybe another opportunity in the future, I will buy one. Maybe a WR400, maybe. Who knows? But that'll conclude this one.
And please, 262, activate for your weekly tests.
At least you activated for the last one, but that concludes the collection update as of February 18th, 2022. Hope y'all enjoyed it.